Week 2 of the Smite Pro League is in. Team Rival and Trifecta make their debuts, and the venerable favorites fall. Week 3, look ahead. This is voice-guided Smite. Week 2 happened with the second week in a row with another game being canceled due to visa issues. But we do have a debut of Team Rival. They kicked off this week against Team Dignitas, where the result was less than favorable, but they still took the time to split the matchup, losing 2-3 in favor of Team Dignitas. This causes Team Rival to take a team rating up to 128, gaining additional 10 points. Team Dig drops down from 99 to 89 and looking just that much stronger. Thursday started off with Rival taking on the Knights, where in a surprise upset, Rival takes that set 3-2. This actually has pretty huge impact for the Knights' rating. They go from 19 as a team all the way up to 31. Rival drops from their 128 previously down to 115 and marks the first upset of my rating system. The second game of week 2 on Friday takes Trifecta versus SK. SK takes the win, winning the set 3-0, looking pretty strong, pretty good. Trifecta, not so much. This sees the team rating for Trifecta go from 292 to 309, and SK drops from 166 down to 150. Things looked pretty good for Rival. They look like the venerable, if not top 3 team, potentially top 2, giving us what looks to be a 3-way battle for the top places. The upset on Knights made Rival look good and made us see that the Knights need to work on improving certain aspects, while Dig looks like they might be the best team currently in the SPL. To summarize, that means the total predictions of this show so far are currently at 5-1, with a 1-game upset with Rival beating the Knights in something that most of us probably would not expect but thought had the potential. Let's look ahead to Week 3. Week 3 starts Thursday with Splice versus the Renegades. Both teams make their debut, and we got some cool matchups that can happen here. Some things to watch. It's the defending world champions, and they're taking on a amalgamation of a team in the Renegades with iRaffer. I think it'll be nice to see how that team synergizes with all their members that are on there. If you remember watching them in the SPL, a lot of those guys got pretty creative and pretty aggressive. It should be a fun matchup regardless. For Splice to win, they have to take advantages of their mid and jungle roles. They should have the advantage here, and if they can win this side, it'll take some pressure off their duo lane, which has a slight advantage. For the Renegades to win, they have to take advantage of that. They are a creative and aggressive team. Take the early lead, maybe pick the comps that'll get you there, and then run with that lead until the end of the match. If this can happen, maybe the Renegades pull off, but I generally think that we're going to stick with where we're at here with Splice taking the win, with the ratings just being a little not so far off that I don't think that the Renegades can't pull off the win, but it looks pretty good with where Splice should be, giving them the benefit of the doubt with lots of team synergy, and they should easily hand this. Splice 64, Renegades 198. Game 2 on Thursday is E-United versus Luminosity. This is a mismatch, as any team will be right now against Luminosity, but there is potential for some fun, mostly in that LG could be the weakness exposer. That's what they can do. Whether or not they pick off some wins, well, we shall see. I don't have high hopes for them, as most people probably don't. But looking at the matchup, what you want to watch in this one is the solo lane magic that can come out of Benji. There is a mismatch in the solo lane, and hopefully there'll be some fun there. For EU to win, they just need to use the jungle to pressure mid and duo lane. The solo lane from Benji should be unlocked, and all they need to do is be aggressive early, force LG to do something about it. Essentially, they are Obi-Wan Kenobi against Anakin Skywalker here. They have the high ground. Just play smart. Don't get yourselves caught out. You should win. For LG, as I'm going to keep saying in their next matchup as well, is they got to get creative. They have to pick matchups that are outside of the meta, find something that can work, see if you can find a weakness, expose it, exploit it. You have Kiki who can play some weird things. Let him do that. I still think E United takes the win. E United 140, Luminosity 312 should be a clear victory for EU. Starting things off on Friday, we have Dignitas versus Luminosity Gaming. And this one looks like it should be a 3-0 in favor of Dignitas, quite possibly just a literal bloodbath. But this is another opportunity for LG to come out, try something weird, because no one expects them to really put up much of a fight. LG could become a weakness exposer for Dig and show us where they can lose at, and it should have lasting ramifications for the Dig season. But for Dig to win, they just need to keep doing what they do. Cuvo and Variety should run solo and jungle and be able to pretty much control that mid section of the map, and everything else should be easy peasy. If LG lets Arthur through, lights out, that game is over before it even starts. For LG to win, get creative. Try something weird. See if you can find a weakness. Poke the bear with the stick, see what opens up, and then hammer away at it. I think this one's pretty close in terms of how it's going to go with the numbers ratings here. Dignitas should win, hands down, 89 to 312, assuming no adjustments from the previous matchups in these numbers, but that's where they're sitting at. It's pretty far out. I just don't see LG doing anything. 3-0 bloodbath for Dig. Closing out week 3, we have EU versus SK. Things to see here. Clearly, these are both mostly NA-based teams, and that's mostly NA-based talent. We get to see these two teams, which I think are pretty evenly matched, go up against each other. What you get to watch is BMT, Big Man Tings, and Paul in the middle versus Benji and Belair in the solo. There should be some pretty good action between these two, as Benji versus Belair should favor Benji slightly, and BMT versus Paul should favor Paul. For EU to win, Ice Ice Baby needs to win the jungle. They have to swing the mismatch that they have in mid with Paul against BMT so that they can keep Belair up with Benji. They have, I think, a slight advantage in this role and possibly something that should allow them to win it just by having that. I think if they win the picks and bans in the duo lane and just focus on making sure that the solo mid matchups stay ahead, they should be able to win this game. For SK to win, Belair and Sam need to play above their weight, as they are slightly mismatched in jungle and solo, and if they can do that, that'll take some pressure off of Paul in the middle and allow him to do just what Paul does and blow things up. If they can also keep their duo lane in it and not allow EU's duo lane to win, that'll also maintain it, but they just need to match that. And that should have the end of this week done. E United 140, SK 150, but I think these could go anyway. Both these teams, I think, are so close that it doesn't really matter, and this is the best matchup we've seen so far in the SPL. Based on the ratings, it has EU favored, but I'm on the mindset that I think SK might just be slightly better right now. Either way, we get time to see, and this matchup will definitely have this solidify. Going off of it, just going to pick the winner based on the numbers here. The numerical rating has EU winning 140 to 150, but we shall see. I think SK probably pulls off that as not really an upset in my mind, but EU defeats SK. Finishing up, I'm hoping that we don't see a lot of this schedule switched up this week, as I've put out 2 previous week previews, and many of the matchups have been switched around. Notably, Renegades and E United both having some visa issues and causing some scheduling issues. It's pretty upsetting, both in terms of sort of the authority, the just the general image that you have a schedule, and also teams that aren't fielding. It's very unprofessional, and it kind of takes away from the fact that we're calling this the Pro League. I really hope all that gets settled, because I'm trying to not be insulting to how the transition from the online play to LANs has been this year, because I think it does add some great value to the viewership. It's looked much better having the cams, that they put a little bit of effort. The post-match interviews are readily available and easy. We don't have that look into a player's bedroom or whatever room they're in when they're on the interview. We get to see their jerseys. The sponsorship value for those teams has gone up even more because it's readily seen, readily available. And I really hope we get to see all these matchups, because I want to see Renegades. I want to see E United. Both. I have interest in both those teams. I like these mid-area matchups just to see where everything goes. In not having them, really kind of disappointing. We lost all the preseason, and we lost 2 games already. That being said, it looks like we've had, the Renegades and the E United games thrown on here just because I guess they're all set. Anyways, we are 5-1 currently in predicting, and we will update that ranking as we go in. Once again, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for stopping by. You just watched and listened to Voice Guided Smite.